All right, let's keep rolling. They're working with LOD 2000 through all the house show loops. And on Raw, they're teaming with Triple H against LOD 2000 and Owen Hart. As we cruise in to, here we go. Are you ready? April 27th, 1998. This is where we see Raw invade Nitro. DX, of course, goes over to the Norfolk Scope, and they're dressed in camo. They're driving a tank. I'm sure we're going to do more about this at some point in the future, but we've got to talk about it a little bit now because we've put this on the poll several times, and it never wins. Catch us up, man. What do you remember about the time DX invaded Nitro?
Well, first of all, it was something that we had talked about in a production meeting, and the question was posed: what would, back in the old days, if you had an outlaw promotion that was coming into your town, what did you do? If you were the underdog, and what did you do? I said, well, hell, man, they used to send the toughest guys in the territory, go sit in the front row and say hello, go knock on their door. And it just so happened we were going to be close to where Nitro was, and the opportunity arose, and Vince decided this was it. We're going to go down and say hello. I produced all of those invasion spots with those guys. And on this particular day, we went down, and it was, and Russo had worked a lot with these guys up until this point, and I had been given a directive from Vince McMahon exactly what I could do and what I couldn't do. But he also made it very clear to all those guys, it's like Bruce has final say, and listen to what he says. And if he, pulls you back, you gotta listen to him. So we had, you just don't know when you go out and do this shit. You don't know what you're going to run into. There's so many variables, from somebody on the other side going too far, maybe one of your guys going too far. Legally, we were told that we couldn't go on the grounds. We definitely could not go inside the building. That was one thing our lawyers told us, do not do. Don't go inside the building under any circumstances. But a lot of different shit happened. The biggest thing to me that came out of this from a talent perspective was Triple H, Billy, Brian, X-Pac, and even Joni. Every one of those guys and girl were ready to fight. And when I say they were ready to fight, they were willing to do whatever it took to get over and to make noise and to make this thing work big time. Nobody was afraid of what would happen. I remember it was actually Brian James who saw that the downstairs, when we drove the tank down the ramp and they'd closed the door on us, it was Brian James that saw that door was open and said, hey, let's go down the ramp. Let's see if we can get in the building. I said, we can't get in the building, but we can go down the ramp because it's still technically a street, actually. But every one of those guys impressed me so much with how far they took everything without stepping over the line. And just the balls that they had. Because a lot of guys wouldn't, believe it or not, there's a lot of talent that wouldn't have done what they did. Oh, I got buddies here. I got this, that, and the other thing. Brian, this is great. We were talking about what do we do if the WCW guys come out to confront us? What do we do? And it's like, what happens if Ming is leading that charge? And I remember saying, if Ming is there, feed me to Ming, because I felt that Ming wouldn't eat me. Thought that, we had a friendship that went way back, that I didn't think that he would kill me. And Brian was like, I hope my brother's there. I'll kick his ass. We fought forever. I'll kick his ass. I hope he comes out. I just hope he comes out on principle. But it was Billy and Hunter and everybody, man. X-Pac, they were all like, come on, let's go. Nobody was afraid. Everybody wanted that confrontation. It was fight at this point, man, they were fighting for their company. They were fighting for their position, and they knew that this was their opportunity to stand out apart from everybody else. And they just impressed me so damn much on everything that we did, because they had the same attitude of, guys, we've got one shot at this. We got to make it great. And they did everything I asked them to do. And they did shit on their own that was tremendous. And I think that's the whole reason, because this was the pivot. This is where we kicked their ass in the ratings and we never turned back.
No doubt about it. It was certainly one of the more memorable moments here. And you guys weren't done yet. You guys do a series of television tapings that, we can kind of skip over. On May 11th, you would invade the CNN Center and WCW headquarters. Of the three little visits, I guess, CNN Center and WCW headquarters, and then the actual live event in Virginia, which one's most memorable to you and which one was the least memorable?
God, they were all equally memorable, because every one of them had their own different set of confrontations. And I still say that when we do DX and we do this invasion thing, man, there's so many great stories. But we had the cops called on us, and we got surrounded at the very first one in Norfolk, and we had our own battles there. At the one in Smyrna is where they called 911, and they screamed that we were being attacked with weapons at the front door, and we had the entire Smyrna Police Department show up. At the one in CNN Center was just a great story of how I kept the crew there, and we requested to see Ted Turner, and actually got all the Turner employees on camera doing the DX chops and things like that. There's a little sidebar. When we went to the office in Smyrna, Georgia, there's a sign on the grass, and it says, no trespassing and no solicitors. Well, Road Dogg jumps off the tank and runs up to the sign and says, what exactly does this say here? I don't understand. Is this French? No trespassing. And we just kind of goofed on it, but we shot it.
Right.
So when the lawsuit came about, when WCW sued us and we were suing WCW, I was in a deposition, and they asked me, they said, well, did you guys trespass? I said, no, not necessarily. We just went up and knocked on the door, and we asked to see if Eric Bischoff or anybody was there. They said, well, it was clearly marked no trespassing and no solicitors. I said, well, we weren't trespassing and we weren't soliciting anything. We were just asking to see someone. He said, so you didn't know that there was posted no trespassing? So how would I know that? And the guy plays the tape for me of me telling Road Dogg, all right, Jesse, come on, let's go. Enough, let's go. And, yeah, videotape. It's a hell of a thing.
Videotape is a hell of a thing. That's awesome. Here's kind of a fun one. On May 19th, the Raw shotgun tapings, we would see the New Age Outlaws beat the new Midnight Express. Kind of a similar deal here, where you've got two single stars and you're putting together a tag team. And this is sort of the tale of two ways this thing can go. On the one side, one of the most over acts in the company, the New Age Outlaws. On the other, the Midnight Express, or the new Midnight Express. How would you compare and contrast the two here?
Well, one actually was new and the other was a retread. So regardless of the new members of the new Midnight Express, the idea was old, and it had Corny as the manager, and, Corny wasn't invested in it. Corny felt that the new Midnight Express didn't have a chance in hell, but he was willing to go along with it and give it his best shot. But it just wasn't there's only one Midnight Express.
So on June 1st, that issue of The Observer would see the New Age Outlaws named as the Tag Team of the Year. But I think somewhere in there, Meltzer was clear to make sure that everybody understood it was based on their charisma, not their work rate. Your response to that?
Over at BrucePrichard.com, you can get my response to that with a beautiful FDM shirt.
June 8th,
and I'll call you too.
The New Age Outlaws get a win over LOD 2000 and the DOA in a triple threat match. And this happens when Gunn pins Road Dogg. Process what I just said. This is awesome. The New Age Outlaws were working a triple threat tag match against LOD 2000 and DOA, and Gunn wins when he pins Road Dogg. It's a very creative finish, and the finish actually gives birth to what we now call the Outlaw Rule. It's a future for all future triple threat tag matches. The partners can't pin each other, and this was the loophole. Whose idea is this? Because this is really, really creative, and I guess the first time it had been done.
I think that was Vince Russo's idea.
It's amazing.
What would happen, bro? Because the argument was, well, if they can tag anybody, why can't they tag each other and basically the other one lay down? Well, everybody, of course, all the old timers were all like, that's a stupid idea. Why would they do that? But it makes sense.
It makes total sense.